Good evening. I'm very glad to be here. My name is David Cushing-Fease, and I've been an acupuncturist for 20 years, and I've been an energy healer for 30 years, which means that I can feel energy in your body and in the outer fields of your body for 30 years. And it's made the adventure of acupuncture much more interesting because it's become a real energy adventure for finding where the points are and how the energy moves through what are called the meridians. If you think of a meridian as an underskin river of energy, there are ways in which you can tap into the underskin river of energy and touch the flow of qi, sometimes spelled C-H-I or Q-I. And you can touch the qi more powerfully at certain points than others. So as an acupuncturist, you use a lot more certain points more frequently than others. And the points that we're going to be learning tonight are points that are used regularly in acupuncturists in a regular acupuncture practice. And they're very profound and they're very, very useful. So the idea here is that we are really truly an electromagnetic adventure inside of our body, that this energy flows through our body in an intelligent and an organized way. And what happens is that the energy gets disorganized or the energy gets blocked in your body. And so what we do is we try to find out where the energy is blocked and where it's out of harmony, and we learn to bring it into balance. So the purpose of this class, the purpose of this DVD land, is to teach people how to awaken to their own inner energy systems and also to learn how to heal themselves. So the idea is that it's going to be fun. The idea is that it's going to be simple and easy to learn and easy to memorize. So we're going to come to the last point of our 12 acupuncture points that could save your life. And it's a point called governing vessel 26. So it's essentially the last point on the governing vessel that's on the outside of the body. And the way you find it, this is called the philtrum. Just put your finger right there below your nose is a natural groove, okay? And it has to do with sexual energy, if it's sort of deep and wide. It has to do with how we can awaken ourselves. Some people locate the point directly in the middle of the philtrum, and some people locate it just a little bit higher. And it's called Renjong, which means the center of the man, or the center of the woman, or the center of the human. And this was a point that I have had a lot of experience with. And if I were going to say, we say, well, 12 acupuncture points that could save your life, what does that mean? Well, I was in the worst bus crash in the history of Peru last year, in which 16 people were killed and 48 people went to the hospital with serious injuries. And fortunately, I walked away from it. But my friend, one of my traveling companions, was injured, and he was in the hospital, and while I was sitting with him, his pupils went fully dilated, filled his eyes, so there was no iris left, and he started to spasm like this. And I said to the doctor in Spanish, I said, look, this is really serious. And the doctor ignored me. And so what I did was I grabbed him right here on governing vessel 26 and I pinched it really, really, really hard, and I shook his head back and forth like this, and immediately his pupils went like this, went back to normal, and he stopped shaking like this, and he just returned as if we were just finished a conversation, and he had no memory of going out, okay? And so this is a revival point. If you have somebody who has fainted and you want to revive them, and the only person I wouldn't revive, for example, would be somebody who's been drowning for more than, underwater for more than 2 or 3 minutes, because usually there's some brain damage. And I had an occasion also to use this about a month ago, where a lady in my computer class, she literally died, and I said to the teacher, I said, well, do you want me to bring her back? She was like 83 years old. And she said, oh, would you please? And I said, okay. And so I grabbed her here, and there was literally no life energy when I grabbed her. And there was nothing to work with. And I thought, oh, I'm not going to be able to help her like this. But I stayed on it, and I pinched this. Sometimes you can take a key, and you can work it in there, a ballpoint pen, your fingernail. And all of a sudden, she went from being, white and cold and lifeless with no pulse and no breath. Her heart just went like this, and it started to pump like this. And then the paramedics arrived, and they took care of her, and she had an abdominal aneurysm. And she was in the hospital for 3 days, and then she was out, and now she's back to normal. And so it's an amazing thing to be able to bring somebody back to life like that. And it had nothing to do with me. It really had to do with the power of the point of governing vessel 26. It's known as a ghost point in Chinese medicine. It's really the connection between heaven and earth. It helps with madness. It helps you with acute lower back strain. It can help you with loss of consciousness. It can help with toothache. It can help with low back pain, dizziness, and eyesight problems. So in a short period of time, we've really started to decode or demystify the governing vessel in Chinese medicine. We have governing vessel 1 at the base of the spine underneath the coccyx. And then we have governing vessel 20, 100 meetings point, which we found by coming like this or 8 fingers back. And then we have governing vessel 26. And so this is a very, very powerful tool to have, and it may save your life. Even if you start to feel yourself getting dizzy, you can grab governing vessel 26 and stimulate it and pinch it like that, and it'll revive your consciousness. And so it's a powerful tool to have. So we've really kind of gone the whole area of the body, arms and legs and center of the body and top of the head and the back of the head. And we've had kind of a little bit of an adventure tonight. So we've started with stomach 36, which we'll just review very quickly. There's 2 natural indentations here, the cow's nose. So you're 4 fingers down from that and 1 thumb width out, stomach 36. Very powerful. And then you can work all the way down that natural groove. It's like a bobsled run, all the way down like this to the pivotal point in the foot. That's all stomach meridian all the way through there. And then we found spleen 6, 4 fingers up on the inside, a little thumb out. Some people put it in the middle. It varies a little bit. But this is a very powerful point that you can work on yourself. So those are both earth element points. They're going to help you with all digestion. We did large intestine 11 in the crook of the arm. Very, very easy to find and very easy to treat yourself. You can do 9, 10, 11, and 12. They're all very close to each other. And anything that's sore is going to be blocked energy in your body. Then we did large intestine 4. And the whole area you can work, but the major point is going to be right in the middle. And it's a terrific point for, it's the master point for opening up energy to your head and your face. It's a great thing to know. And then we talked that the energy crosses and ends at large intestine 20 and opens up energy to your head and your face. So as we said, it's good for headaches, it's good for eyes, it's good for teeth. When I tell people you're going to the dentist, massage in here before you go to the dentist, and massage your earlobes, which have the reflexes to your teeth and your face as well. So this is something that you can do that you'll actually start to bring the healing energy to your face even before the dentist works on you. And so it's a nice little trick to have in your body. We learned spleen 9. Whereas another like a bobsled run on the inside, you run your thumb up till it literally stops. That's going to be spleen 9. And that opens up all intelligent communication in the abdomen. And it's an amazing point. It's easy to bruise, so don't overwork it, okay? Get more into your teasing ability where you tease the energy out of your body, the blocked energy out of your body. Then we learned stomach 30. At the top of the pubic bone, you come down the center, you're about 2 to 3 fingers out on the top of the pubic bone, and the ridge, and I have people actually work the top of the pubic bone again, and that's going to release a lot of energy in your pelvis. Women who have menstrual cramps and all kinds of problems in their reproductive system, this is a terrific point for accessing that, and goes very well with spleen 9, because spleen 9 is going to enhance whatever it is that you start to create, in the body. Then we did gallbladder 20. You take your fingers and you find the groove that they're just going to naturally fall into in the back of the head right here on both sides, and you start to massage that. See, mine feels better already from the work that I did. It's a little bit more swollen on the right, but it's better. It's not anywhere near as tender as it was. And that's the point that's going to be the magic point for improving your eyesight. Okay? And for other people, if you want to add in one more thing, Dr. Bates, who was the famous eye doctor, said if you rub your hands together really, really fast like this, and you really create some heat, and you hold it over your eyes about an inch away, it's called palming. And then you let that energy just bathe your eyes. And he says that's the most powerful thing that you can do for your own eyesight. And it's a good thing to know for people who are spending a lot of time on computers. You know, you go back here, you open up the energy. You go back here and you open up the energy. You're actually literally controlling or affecting the flow of qi in your own body. Then we did gallbladder 41 between the little toe and the ring toe at the top like that of your foot. And that's going to be the master point for the pelvis. That's a very good thing to know, as to how to open up your pelvic energy. So it will help with sexuality. It'll help with all kinds of internal problems. Then we learned all of the heart points here, 7, 6, 5, 4, all within about 2 fingers width here. So you just get in the groove there underneath the bone, and you just give that a little massage, and anything that's painful or burning is going to help to open up that energy. And remember, that we don't overdo it. We just stimulate it, and then you can lie in bed and you'll actually feel heat move around your body, and you'll feel energy move in your body, and it can be quite an adventure to go inside your body. If it gives you any indication, you know, everybody wants to go into outer space, right? And then everybody says, oh, the final frontier and all of like that. But the final frontier is really inside. It's not outside. Yogananda in his book says that if every atom in your body were a piece of typing paper, the stack of paper, this is atoms, the stack of paper would extend beyond our known universe. It's a pretty amazing concept. There are trillions and trillions of atoms inside of our body, and that this is all part of our consciousness. So the secret, we all have seen the DVD and heard all the news about it, but the real secret is to go inside and to awaken to your inner divinity, to awaken to your inner electromagnetic system. And that's possible. And these 12 acupuncture points that could save your life are really a very powerful way to get in. And then later on, the next class I'll do is the 12 alarm points of acupuncture. And that's a way of diagnosing yourself or other people in the appropriate situation for all of your internal organs. And that's what I'll be teaching tomorrow night. Then we learned governing vessel 20 at the top of the head, governing vessel 1, and governing vessel 26. The tip of the nose is governing vessel 25. So in colder climates, when people come in from the snow and the ice and they've been out like this, they walk around with a frozen nose for about 20 minutes before they get normal. So what I have them do is I have them massage the tip of their nose when they come in and get the energy flowing through there. And I also think of the nose as an extension of the third eye. So when you start to open up the energy of the tip of your nose, that starts to open up your spiritual awareness as well. So I'll read what I've written just for fun. These 12 points are presented to remind you that the energy in your body is both organized and intelligent. By gently locating and massaging these points, you can begin to heal yourself. Pregnant women should consult a professional acupuncturist before using any of these points. In general, soreness indicates blockage. And when the pain lessens or disappears, it signals the return of the healing force. And then I conclude, welcome to the Home Entertainment Center. The exploration of these points should be fun and not intended to create or cause worry if they are sore or painful. You can massage these points in a gentle, circular, spiral manner every other day or so, or as a regular tune-up. You have a powerful tool with these points. Use them with joy and good health. With love, David Cushing Feast, Carmel, California, but right now today in San Rafael. So it's been a real pleasure to share this information with you, and I hope that you can go out and share it with other people after you've discovered the points within yourself. What we're going to do is we're going to create a mini revolution of informing people, of demystifying how we heal ourselves and demystifying the electromagnetic system inside of the body. And it's happening all over. It's happening in yoga, it's happening in Tai Chi and Qigong and meditation. People are starting to wake up to their interior world. And the interior world is dynamic, and it's wonderful, and it's divine, and it's our divine right to be able to go inside and to waken up to who we truly are. Thank you very much. As I said before, the governing vessel begins at the tip of the spine. And the tip of the spine is the next point that we're going to talk about. As we start to understand the energy of the spine in Chinese medicine, the governing vessel begins at the bottom of the spine underneath what we know as the coccyx. So you have a triangular sacrum at the base of the spine, and then at the bottom of that you have 2 or 3 little bones that are called the coccyx. And they change with everybody. They're not the same. Sometimes the coccyx is straight, sometimes it's curved naturally, which is mostly normal, and then sometimes it's curled all the way under. So how we relate to it is going to vary from person to person. I've seen in my practice many people who have injured their coccyx. A classic one would be girls in high school or grade school, and the boy pulls the chair away while the girl's sitting down and she falls down and hits her coccyx. People falling when they're skating, ice skating or roller skating, people who have any kind of an injury where you fall really hard on your coccyx. And most of us at one time or another have fallen, and when you have that kind of an impact, it's a shock to your whole nervous system, but a lot of times the injury that's sustained to the coccyx is a lifelong injury. And when that energy gets freed, all of a sudden a lot of problems can disappear. And people don't even have the memory of the injury anymore. So you can actually start to work on your own coccyx and a point called governing vessel 1, which is the beginning of the governing vessel meridian. It's called long, strong, okay, which means that as you clear it, you're going to have a long and strong spine. And the stronger your spine is, and the clearer your spine is, and the more flexible your spine is, it'll change everything in your health system. So this is going to be the focal point as you start to heal yourself, is to have a flexible spine and a healthy spine. So the way you would do this is you would lie on your side, and you would bring one leg up, and you can even put a little bit of olive oil or cream on your finger, and you would go at the base of your spine and find the tip of your spine. This is a fairly intimate move, but if you're by yourself, nobody else is going to know. And you find the tip of your spine, and if you can get underneath your spine into the fleshy part between the tip of the spine and your rectum, that's where governing vessel 1 is going to be. And then you start to massage that area, and you start to awaken it, and you start to get the energy flowing through there. And then I add in where you actually physically touch the tip of your spine and the left side and the right side. And a lot of times you'll find it's very, very sore. And it'll surprise you like, oh God, it's so sore. How could I have been walking around so sore and not known that that was there? And it's very common with a lot of these points. It doesn't become a problem until it's a big problem, and then the body starts to advertise. It starts to pulsate someplace. Someplace starts to get weak and you start to hurt at spleen 9. You start to hurt here. You start to hurt in your hands. And then your body's calling out for attention. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to get at these problems before they become a real problem. So you're lying on your side, you've got one leg up. You can actually do this on both sides and practice, but most people are right-handed, so that would be what you would work on. You work on the flesh, as I said, between the tip of the spine, the coccyx, and the rectum, and you massage that in there and see if there's any soreness. And then you work on the side of the coccyx, both sides, left and right, and then the tip of the coccyx. And if you can get underneath the coccyx itself, that can be a very powerful reflex. There's a nerve crossing at the base of the spine that I tell people, go and ask your doctor, do you know where the ganglion of Impar is? And most people don't know where it is. And the ganglion of Impar is where the sympathetic nervous system crosses in your body at the base of your spine. So it's hugely important as to how your body's going to work, how your health is going to be. So you can actually go in, and if you get underneath the coccyx and you start to stimulate that area, you're going to be stimulating your own intelligent crossing of the sympathetic nervous system, the ganglion of Impar. And you can look it up in Gray's Anatomy when you're in the bookstore. Look up the ganglion of Impar, I-M-P-A-R, and it will tell you how to do that. So that point will help you. The governing vessel one will help you with the kidney and gallbladder. It will open the governing vessel and the conception vessel, that microcosmic orbit that we were talking about. So it's good for your entire body. It regulates the intestines, and sometimes it's called in Chinese the stairway to heaven. Okay, which we all know is the most famous song that's been played the most times on radio of any song in history. But the Stairway to Heaven is a very interesting name. If you go and read Paramahansa Yogananda's new 2-volume book, it's called The Second Coming of Christ. And it's a very, very interesting book. So Yogananda says that the second coming of Christ is really the raising of your energy in your spine, from the base of your spine up into your brain and out the top of governing vessel 20 into higher consciousness. So it's very important to keep that in mind. You know, most people think of the Messiah as coming, which is a distinct possibility. But the stairway to heaven may indicate that your awakening, or the second coming of Christ, is the awakening of the Christ force within your own body. You know, that you actually can awaken yourself in a wonderful kind of way. And this is a very strong way to realize that you can awaken what the Indians would call the Kundalini energy that's dormant at the base of your spine. And then the Kundalini rises, the positive and negative energy comes up in the center of the spine. It rises up and it pierces through all the 7 chakras of your body, and it comes up the top of your head, and then you explode into an infinite cosmic consciousness, which can be really fun if you want to go that path of enlightenment, which I think we're all destined for one way or the other. But if you have a way to become more aware of that and a way to affect the energy of your spine, it's a good thing. So we've learned governing vessel 20, and we've learned governing vessel number 1. So we've had a powerful effect on our own body. And as you work on these points, you're actually going to be able to feel the cosmic energy, the divine energy, the chi move inside of your own body. And so you actually can feel your own healing take place. And we say it's subtle, but sometimes it's what we call subtle, like a train. You know, it really can move very strongly inside of your body. And, or even if you just pay attention to it, it can be called subtle, but as you observe it move in your body, it can be very exciting, and it can be, make you very happy and joyous in your life as you awaken this divine energy in your own self. The next point I'm going to talk about is very interesting. It's a point called governing vessel 20. And it's been known throughout all of history as a profound point. And it's a point where the spirit of the body exits at death, if you're lucky. And it's, if you know about it, then you can kind of prepare for that, and death starts to have less fear about it. But it's also a major healing point in Chinese acupuncture. The traditional way in acupuncture and how we find it is we touch the top of our ears like this, and then we literally just run our fingers together like this, and where the fingers meet in the top of the head, right in the middle, is governing vessel 20. And then you start to massage that. You can go a little half-inch one way, a little half-inch the other on the center line, and sometimes you'll find a place that's quite tender. Okay? And you can get tremendous benefits out of your whole body from working on this point. Okay? Now, in the Tibetan tradition, the way the Tibetans find it is they take the natural hairline and they take their fingers really, really tight together, and they do 8 fingers back, 2 hands back like this, and right there is going to be governing vessel 20. And you can experiment yourself and see you'll be pretty much close in the same place. So it's a very, very important point to know. The Chinese call it 100 meetings point. And when they say 100 meetings, they really mean this is important. They say pay attention to this. This is a very profound point in your body. If you went to the Chinese exhibit that was here in San Francisco, they had a jade suit. And the jade had 3,000 pieces of jade, rectangular jade, that was tied together with gold thread. Okay, so obviously the person who was buried was very important. You know, they had a lot of money, they had enough for jade, and they had enough for gold wire. And the only circular piece of jade in the entire jade burial suit was in the top of the head, and it was round, and it had a hole in it. And it went exactly over governing vessel 20. And so what they were saying, the message that they were passing 2,500 years in advance to us who saw it is, this is important. This is where the spirit of this person escaped out of their body. Okay? And so it's not talked about very much in the death and dying process. So it's very important to learn this point and to become aware of it. The Tibetans do a practice called poa, and they actually do a whole series of practices to become aware and to prepare for what's called the ejection of consciousness. Okay? A lot of people think that when you die, you're just done. But the empirical evidence is that the spirit actually leaves out of the body and continues in another dimension, and often returns to this planet or to another place. So to know about this is a way to heal yourself. It's used for mental clarity. It's used for dizziness. It's used for anything that's falling down. Okay, so it's used for prolapsed uterus. It can be used for your face. It can be used for hemorrhoids. Anything that's falling down. That when you stimulate this point, you're actually going to be lifting up your spirit, you're going to be lifting up your body, you're going to be lifting up your internal organs. So it's very, very important, and it's easy to find. The governing vessel runs from the tip of the spine, inside the spine, through the head, across the top, and ends at your upper lip. So anything that you do at governing vessel 20 is going to strengthen your entire spine energy. And it's going to strengthen your constitution. Okay? There are many people who have a weak constitution, and the more you strengthen your governing vessel and the more clarity you have in your spine, the stronger you're going to be. So it's pretty clear, everybody knows that if you have a flexible spine, you're going to be healthier. And so you do your yoga, you do your stretching, you do your twisting, you start to move the energy through your spine, and that's going to affect the governing vessel of your body. And in the next class we're going to do, which is the 12 alarm points of acupuncture, we're going to learn about what's called the microcosmic orbit, where the energy starts at the tip of the spine, comes inside of the spine to your upper lip, the energy jumps across your lips and goes down the front of your body to in front of your rectum, and it's a circle of energy. This is called the conception vessel meridian. So governing vessel 20, it clears the 6 yang channels, because in Chinese medicine, only the yang meridians go up past the shoulders directly. The yin meridians stay below the shoulders, and the yang meridians come up and infuse the head. So when you start to clear the yang meridians in your head, you're going to clear your consciousness, you're going to clear your eyes, you're going to clear your emotions, you're going to clear your physical patterns. And so it's lovely to be able to tap into your own emotional system and into your spine and into your governing vessel. This clears the senses and calms the spirit. It extinguishes liver wind, and it's stabilizing ascending yang, and it strengthens the nerves throughout the body. The Chinese say it treats 100 diseases, which is another way of saying 100 meeting points in the top of the head. It's good for mental clarity, it's good for dizziness, and it's good for prolapse, as I said, and fear and forgetfulness, and the gray hair in younger people. So it's a very, very nice point to know in your body. So everybody knows how to find it now. You find the tips of your ears. You just bring your fingers right together like this, and you just find that. Now, as you're lying in your home entertainment center at night, you can actually massage from the back of your head all the way that center line, all the way through to your upper lip here. But all these points on the head are very powerful for opening up the governing vessel. And in polarity therapy, the between here and governing vessel 20 are all points that have to do with levels of consciousness. Okay, and this isn't taught very much. So anything that opens up that part of the governing vessel meridian is going to open up your levels of spiritual consciousness. So that's a pretty good side effect for starting not only to heal yourself, but part of healing also has to do with awakening your consciousness. And the fact that you can tap into your own body is a great gift. And that's one of the reasons we're trying to demystify how the body energy system works, so that we can get into ourselves and we can heal ourselves and we can heal other people. So this is a very, very nice way to work on people. So if you're a massage therapist, you can go and find that governing vessel 20 and give it a little massage and massage that whole line of the governing vessel, and it's going to awaken the whole system of the body. The next point that I'm going to talk about is a point called Heart 7. It's very easy to find, and Heart 7 in Chinese medicine is called Shen Men. Shen means like your spirit, and Men means gate. So spirit gate sounds like an interesting point, doesn't it? You know, I want to know more about that. And then as you start to find out more about it, then you can go and help other people. The way you find it is you hold your hand up like this, and you're going to put your thumb in the groove here at the top, at the base of the bone here. And right in that groove is going to be Heart 7. And there's actually 4 points there, 4, 5, 6, 7, within that 1 inch space. So you actually can work 4 different points. But the most important is the one at the top, at the base of the pisiform bone. And when I first went in there myself to work on myself, it burned like somebody was putting a hot iron in there. And I couldn't believe that I had to own that pain in my own body. And so I was like very, very surprised. And that was a reflection of the problem in my spirit, and a reflection in my own physical body and in my heart energy. And since then, I've cleared that energy away. And so it's all clear in there now. And every once in a while in a class, I'll go back and I'll be demonstrating and I'll go, oh, that's really sore. And I know I've got some more work to do about what I'm teaching. And again, this is going to be bilateral. Okay, so you can do both sides. And this is a point that works. Let's say if you feel like you're having a heart attack, you know, or you're feeling like, oh, my heart is getting really weird. You go in and you start to work on these points, and your heart energy will calm down, your emotions will calm down, and it's a very, very helpful point. It's used a lot in acupuncture to calm the spirit. And the heart meridian is a very powerful and intimate part of your body. And so essentially what you're doing in getting these points is you're dropping into yourself. You're taking an adventure into your interior electromagnetic system. And that is fun, and it's effective, and it works. And the more you do it, the more you lie in the quiet of your home entertainment center where you're just lying, and you'll actually feel the energy move inside of your body. And then what you do is when you feel the energy, you don't grab it with your mind, you grab it with your breath. You relax more and you take a breath, and a lot of times the energy that you feel moving inside of your body will change. It'll become bigger, or it'll become smaller, or it'll move to another part of your body, and you actually can watch your own interior pathways of your body. It's a very profound process. And it's our divine right to wake up to our interior electromagnetic process. And it can be fun as well. And to be healthier is to be holier, for sure. So it calms the spirit, it pacifies the heart, it clears the channels, it helps with stress, and it helps with depression, and it helps with fear. So this is a pretty good thing to know, because that's all rampant throughout the society. It's used for emotional constipation. It's used for the sigmoid flexure, the last turn that the colon takes before it goes outside of the body. Sometimes it's used for irregular pulse or shoulder pain, loss of voice, but any kind of cardiac pain or palpitation in your body. And a lot of times people come to me and they say, oh, God, I got scared, you know, I had this real pain in my heart, or I had like an arrhythmia or a palpitation. So if you feel that in your body, you go and check out Heart 7, and you start to massage that, and you start to massage this, and then you start to examine what the causes were for that happening in your body. And you start to heal that. But to be able to drop into your own heart is a very powerful thing to do. And you can do it through yoga, you can do it through Tai Chi, you can do it through Qigong, you can do it through meditation. This isn't the only way, but it's a very, very powerful way to get inside of your own body. The next point that we're going to talk about is called gallbladder 41. And gallbladder 41 is easy to find. You might take your shoe off if you like, or in your sock. I'll be very clear about where it is. Gallbladder 41 is called the master point for the pelvis. And the way you find it is you go between your little toe and what we might call your ring toe, and you'll find there's a natural groove there between the tendons. And you run your finger up till you can't go up any higher, and that's going to be gallbladder 41. And a lot of times that point is quite tender, and it's a very, very powerful point for healing the body. And it's bilateral, so it's both sides. All of these points are bilateral until we get to the top of the head. And so you can just massage that whole groove between the tendons, and when you get to the top, that's going to be the most important point. And I see a couple of people in the audience wincing. They've found the soreness, and then they say, okay, now I know that I've got a little blocked energy out of there, and I'm going to try to tease it out. I'm going to go down in a circle on it till I find the tenderness. I'm going to hold it, and then I'm going to breathe, and I'm going to let that energy go. And I might do that 2 or 3 to 4 times, and then I'm going to leave it alone and come back and check it tomorrow. So this is a way that you can start to diagnose yourself. And if you know where to look for the problem, then you know how to heal it. And all of these acupuncture points are powerful ways to access what's going on inside of your body. So is everybody clear? Between the little toe and the next toe, you're going to run between those two tendons to the top of the V, and right there is going to be gallbladder 41, master point for the pelvis. So if you're having problems in menstruation, if you're having problems with male sexuality, if you're having problems with your back, gallbladder 41 is going to start to release that. The point is called a foot overflowing tears, and the reason that it's associated with tears is because the gallbladder meridian begins in the outer corner of the eye. So this point and this point in Chinese medicine are related because they're on the same meridian, they're on the same underskin river of energy in your body. And it spreads and drains the liver and gallbladder, and it clears and regulates the girdle channel, okay, which has to do with your entire sexuality. The gallbladder girdle channel is the only horizontal energy in Chinese medicine. All of the other meridians are running up and down, so it's literally the girdle channel that unites all of the other meridians. So this particular point is a very important point to know. And learning how to free your body. So as you start to free your liver and your gallbladder, your anger is going to diminish. So you're going to be in a positive loop. So then you start to change your habits a little bit, drink a little less alcohol, do any kind of less drugs of whatever is damaging your liver, and then the liver has an amazing ability to recover up to a certain point. So we have a tremendous ability to heal ourselves. We know that the cells get reproduced, you know, and the entire organs get replaced after 7 years. So if you really, really set out to heal yourself, you can do it. And there's just one dramatic case after another for people who set out to work on their own health. And I tell people you have to work on your health like a job. Right? In this society, there's too much impinging upon you from the outside to think that you can just walk through your life and not be proactive for your own health. You know, proactive in exercising, proactive in eating organic foods, fresh foods, no chemicals and no artificial preservatives or colors. You know, we know the drill how to stay healthy, you know, and it's just a question of working at it. And you go to a natural foods restaurant and you're going to get really great food, you know, and you're going to find that if you eat about 50-60% vegetarian, your diet's going to improve dramatically, your digestion's going to improve dramatically. And so you start to grab hold of your own evolution. The Chinese would call it self-cultivation. You literally set out to cultivate your own spirit. You set out to cultivate your own meditation. You set out to cultivate your own body. And you start to see your own body as a garden. And all of these points that we're learning tonight are points that will help you cultivate your own garden. And part of the idea is that the whole process should be fun. It shouldn't be a burden to you. And the more you understand about the natural energetics of your body, the more empowered you are going to be in the process of regaining your health. The next point we're going to talk about is a point called gallbladder 20. And gallbladder 20 is a very important point to learn. And it's easy to find. You might take your middle finger or your index finger and just put it behind your head like this. Okay, and you're going to find a natural groove in the back of your head right there that your fingers are just going to fall right into. And your fingers will just naturally fit right in there. And if you massage it, like when I check it out myself, I'm tender on both sides here. And it's a little surprising to me, but they always say you teach what you need to learn. Now, one of the great points about this is gallbladder 20 is called wind pool. And most people don't understand how they get sick. Like today was a very windy day outside here in San Rafael. And I literally can count the days from 1, 2, 3 days after a very strong wind that my office is full of people who are sick, particularly children. And one of the ways that disease gets into the body is it gets in through gallbladder 20. People get sweaty on the back of their neck, and then wind gets on it. Okay, and it goes into the wind pool, and then it gets into the body, and then people come down with the flu, or they come down with colds, or they start coughing or sneezing or sniffling like that. And one of the secrets to that I teach all my patients is that if you get sweaty on the back of your neck, you cover up. You get a scarf, and you make sure the wind doesn't get on that wind pool point in the back of your neck. And that's really a great secret on how to stay healthy. Gallbladder 20 is a point that seriously benefits the eyes. So literally you can lie in bed at night like this, and you can massage the whole ridge of the base of your skull, but with emphasis on gallbladder 20. And you can lie there also, and you can take one side and put it on the inner corner of your eye here, and you can massage gallbladder 20. Usually I take the middle finger in the back and the index finger in the front, and there will be a current that runs between your two fingers, and you can actually improve your eyesight, and you can improve the flow of energy in your entire head. And then after a minute or two, you switch back the other way and to the other side in the inner corner of the eye, which is called bladder 1, and then the finger in the gallbladder 20 in the back. And sometimes you don't even have to massage it. You can just hold the contact, and the energy current will run between the two fingers. And if you're very, very quiet and you really just watch like a picture show, you'll be able to feel the energy move inside your head and sometimes in your entire body. So easy to find, easy to work on, and then of course you don't overwork it. You stimulate it, and then you start to tease the blocked energy out of gallbladder 20. One of the reasons that gallbladder and the liver are always good for the eyes is that the gallbladder 1, the beginning of the gallbladder meridian, is in the outer corner of the eye. This is gallbladder 1. It goes gallbladder 2 like this, and then literally zigzags back and forth across your entire head and wraps around your ribs and goes down the length of your legs. And it's a wonderful point to know about. And we see a lot of eye problems in our society, and a lot of the eye problems come from liver problems, liver and gallbladder problems. And we see it epidemic in the society, either from anger, which is the emotion that's associated with liver, or anything that damages the liver. I remember seeing a bumper sticker in Australia that said, "The liver is evil, we must punish it," which is another way of saying that the Australians are known for drinking a lot of beer, and that was their way of confronting the liver. But the better you treat your liver, the better your eyesight is going to be. And the less anger that you have, the better your eyesight's going to be. And there's an association between the emotions and the organs. So liver is associated with anger. The kidneys are associated with fear. The lungs are associated with grief, and the spleen is associated with sadness, melancholy. And so it's like a catch-22. It's like, how do you get out of the loop? Maybe you're angry, so you drink, and your liver gets worse. The more you drink, the worse your liver gets. And so how do we get out of that loop like that? And the answer is to change your habits, and everything in moderation makes a huge difference. The next point we're going to do is a little bit more intimate. It's a point called stomach 30, and it's not discussed very much because it's a little bit more intimate in the body. And basically you're going to go from the center line down from your belly button to the top of your pubic bone, where you actually feel the bone of the pubic bone. And then you're going to go about 2 fingers out from there, sometimes 3, depending on who you are and the size of your body. And you're going to massage that point on the top of the pubic bone. Now, we're in a society where there's kind of a taboo of touching yourself. You know, it's like, oh, we're not allowed to even heal ourselves. And what I do is I travel around the world and I teach people, touch yourself, work on yourself, free your body, and examine your body, feel every part of your body. There's no part of your body that's taboo. And once you understand that everything is energy, then you find out that you can affect the energy in your own body. Now, what I have people do is I have people lie at home, and if you're doing it in a classroom, it's less obvious. But if you're lying at home and you're alone, and you start to work on these points, you're actually going to be able to feel the chi move inside of your body. And that's what I call the home entertainment center. Right, where you enjoy working on your own body and you enjoy exploring it. Now, some people say, well, how does the chi feel when you access it in your body? It often feels a little bit like tingling. It feels like warmth. Sometimes it feels like colors moving through your body. Sometimes it feels like a wave. When I teach young children, I go in and teach one particular Tai Chi move, and literally the children are whooping and yelling and saying, oh, this is fantastic. They actually feel the energy moving all throughout their body, and it's a great adventure for them. And they say often it feels like little ginger ale bubbles moving through their body, or what we might call champagne bubbles, you know, more refined like that. And once you start to feel the energy move in your body and realize that the energy is organized and intelligent, then all of these points become more meaningful. And the use of these points is for self work, but it's also, you can work on a friend of yours. You say, oh, you've got a headache? Oh, we'll work on large intestine 4. Oh, how's your digestion? We'll find stomach 36 and we'll work on that. And actually, the stomach meridian runs the whole length of the outer part of the tibia. And so there's a groove on the outside, and you can just run your finger all the way down. And this is bilateral, both sides. So in polarity, that groove is the ascending colon and part of the transverse colon, and this is part of the transverse colon, and this is the descending colon coming down the other side. So you can work on your own digestive system just by working in that groove. Now, we've talked only about stomach 36, but you don't even need to know the points. You need to just work down that groove, and it will start to help your whole digestive system. You literally can start to heal yourself on a daily basis. And it's been my feeling that it's our divine right to feel the chi move in our body. It's been our divine right to know how we can get into our own body. How do we access this? And the way that we access, one of the ways that we access is through the major acupuncture points. So this can be used by massage therapists, it can be used by chiropractors, it can be used by nurses, it can be used by mothers with their family and their children. And often mothers can solve their own children's problems by heightening their awareness and by learning where the acupuncture points are, and create very instant relief. Now, the point stomach 30, which we found here at the top of the pubic bone, I actually have people massage the entire top ridge of their pubic bone and then actually the top of the pubic bone, all the way out to the sides. And when you're lying in bed in your home entertainment center, you start to do that and you find often a lot of soreness in there. And it can be very, very dramatic because partly it's an area that you never touch. You don't touch your pubic bone in the course of events. And so you find that stomach 30, and it's a crossing point of 2 or 3 different meridians in your body. So it's a powerful point. It releases back problems, it releases menstrual problems, it releases digestive problems, it opens up the whole inguinal groove in here, and it increases communication between your stomach and your upper body. So in a very simple process, you can actually widen your scope just from that one point. You can do the whole ridge of the pubic bone, and then you can do the whole top of the pubic bone, and you're going to start to get very strong relief. The pubic bone is shaped kind of like this, and you'll see also that the sacrum is also a very similar shape. And so we start to release all the energy that goes around the waist, and can be of great benefit for you. The next point that we're going to learn is a point called spleen 9. And spleen 9 is easy to find. I'm going to expose my leg here. And what you do is you take your thumb and you run it up the inside of your tibia, of your bone here, until you comes to a natural stopping point right there. And that's going to be spleen 9. And often it's sore on people. And it's a point that has great benefits for releasing abdominal pressures in the body. So is that clear? We just run the thumb right up like this, and it comes to a natural stop there, and that's going to be spleen 9. And that's a point that was used by the great acupuncturist Kiko Matsumoto, and she would take a needle and needle upwards at that point. So if you're working on yourself, you want to press a little bit as if you were pushing up towards the upper part of the body. And spleen 9 is a truly amazing point with no end to what it can do. This point will transform damp. It will benefit the lower burner, this part of the body, and it will move stagnant blood in the pelvis. So as a practitioner, what I do is I palpate the entire abdomen, and I actually use a surgeon's marking pen because people don't believe the benefits of it. So I'd find a sore spot, I'd put a mark. It's a non-toxic marker. And then I'd find another spot and I'd put a mark, and I'd find another spot and put a mark. And then I would treat spleen 9. And about 80% of the problems of the sore spots in the abdomen disappear with the use of spleen 9. And it's just amazing. And it just improves communication throughout the entire abdomen. We see a lot of dampness in our society. The great acupuncturist Worsley said to me one time, he said, I know what dampness is. He said, I lived in a basement apartment in World War II. And he said, that was real dampness. So I got to experience it in my body. In the West, we get the dampness in our body from sugar, from coffee, from fried foods. Throughout our entire society, we see a lot of sugar, we see a lot of coffee, and we see a lot of fried foods. And these are things that make, when the spleen ceases to function well, it gets dampness. And what happens in dampness is that the energy starts to get stagnant, like a stagnant pool. And then it starts to heat up, and the dampness starts to evaporate, and coagulated energy remains. So it can be an ovarian cyst, it can be a breast lump, it can be all kinds of problems like that of stagnant energy. And as that happens, then you start to have a real problem when that energy congeals. So we're always trying to keep the body in movement. I've lectured internationally on how to avoid breast cancer, and one of the best things you can do to avoid breast cancer is to start exercising. And particularly the people who are the smallest category in breast cancer is people who have started exercising when they were in high school, and then they continued out throughout their life. So it's a question of move it or lose it kind of idea, that you have to move the chi in your body. You have to move the blood in your body. You have to move the lymph in your body. And damp heat is a way of creating stagnation in your body. So we're always looking, how do we avoid stagnation? So it can be brisk walking, it can be running, it can be yoga, it can be tai chi. Whatever it is that's going to move the energy in the body is going to create a dramatic benefit for everyone. So spleen 9, we remember how to find it, very, very easy. And if it's sore, don't go, and it's very often sore, don't go and like really attack it. Start to get the idea of teasing the energy out, where you go down till you find where it's sore and you just hold it for a minute, and then you let it go. You give the blocked energy somewhere to move, because if you keep attacking it, what will happen is the body will close down. And so it's, you're going to learn to find what your own limits are in this process. It's obviously used for knee problems, and this will also release the main digestive point, which we'll do in our next class. It's used for edema. It's used for preventing appendicitis. It's used for testicular problems, any kind of genital problems, impotence, and it's quite an amazing point. And it will also release the third and fourth lumbar of the back. And we see in our society a lot of back problems, particularly lower back problems. And in the general counsel, we counsel particularly women not to drink coffee or not to drink a lot of coffee. A cup a week, 2 cups a week is okay, and I usually like to drink organic coffee. And it manifests, if women drink too much coffee, it creates damp heat, so we see ovarian cysts and we see breast lumps. And in men, drinking too much coffee manifests as a lower back problem because of its effect on the kidneys. And so when somebody comes in with a lower back problem, the first thing I say to them is, do you drink coffee? And then we start to go from there, and then they stop drinking coffee, and their back problem often gets significantly better. The next point is a point that's probably the best known point in acupuncture. It's called large intestine 4, and it's known all around the world as a headache point. And it's known in secretarial pools in New York City. Every Oriental person knows this particular point. And it's located in the webbing of the hand. The Chinese name for this is called Hegu, which means in the valley. So it's in the valley between the 2 fingers like this. And it's in the high point of the mound when you bring your hand together like this. So almost in the middle. And you go in there and you give it a nice massage in there, and you see if the muscle is, or is the point is tender. Okay, and in most people it's tender on one side or the other. And this is used, it's called the master point for opening up energy to the head and the face. It's a release point that releases the entire meridian. Now, the reason that it works so well is that the meridian begins on the inner corner of the nail of your index finger. And so the points of access are 1, 2, 3. This would be 4. We now know that this is large intestine 11. It comes up through 15. And this side ends on this side of the nose. And the right side ends up on the left side of the body. So the reason that it works is that chi flows up the arms and it crosses like this to both large intestine 20, which is the end of the meridian, and then the energy opens up to the head and the face. So it's used for gum problems, it's used for teeth, it's used for headaches, it's used for eyes, it's used for sinus problems. And so you can get a lot of benefit out of massaging this point. And then you go and you check the other side. It's a bilateral system here. And you see if it's tender on this side. And often it'll be more sore on one side than it is on the other. In polarity therapy, the left side releases the heart and the right side releases the liver. And if you were to examine even more, the entire fleshy area between your thumb and your index finger actually represents all of the chakras of the body. From the top chakra, which would be the top of the head, would be here, and then it would go ether, air, fire, water, earth as you go deeper into the webbing. So you literally can heal all of the chakras of your body by massaging the webbing of the hand. And you don't, as I say, try to get it all out in one go, because you'll bruise yourself or you won't feel well, you know. And so you just give it some stimulus and you experiment with it, and you keep a memory of it or even make a note, and then you come back and you do the other side. So we've started to penetrate into the body already. We've started to find out how to find the points. They're easy to find and easy to work with. The third point that we're going to learn is a point called large intestine number 11, and it's very easy to find. You would expose your elbow like this, and when you bend your arm, there's going to be a natural crease here. And you come to the end of the crease up here on the top, and that's going to be large intestine number 11. And large intestine number 11 is known as a crooked marsh. And it's a point that strengthens the large intestine, and it's a point that strengthens the lungs also, which is the paired organ to the large intestine in Chinese medicine. And it also brings oxygen up into your brain, and it starts to release the diaphragm, anything that's horizontal to it, like this. And so we find that point and we see if there's any tenderness there. And if there is, or even if there isn't, we go and we do it like a little spiral massage like this down on the point, and you say, oh, it's a little tender. And we start to tease the blocked energy out. So the idea here is that you're not trying to get all the blocked energy out in one go, all right? So that you spend a little time on it, maybe a minute or 2 or 3 minutes, and then you leave it alone, and you come back and check it the next day or 2 days later, and you see if it feels any less tender, okay? And it's a point that will also give you some a measure of your progress. So if it's less tender, or the tenderness disappears, that means the blocked energy is starting to disappear and the energy flow in the channel is starting to improve. You can actually add in 2 other points if you like. There's just below it, a finger width below it is large intestine 10, and then large intestine 9, and then a finger width above it is large intestine 12. So you can actually get four very important digestion points in your body in a very simple and simple procedure. The large intestine meridian is usually not explained very well in Chinese medicine. It's also important to check both sides of your body. So if you go inside and you find that one side is sore and one side is not, your problem is going to be usually a little bit more on that side. So in my case, as I palpate like this, I'm a little bit more sore on the left than I am on the right. So I would give this a measure, and I might give a number to it, like this has a tenderness of about a 6. So that's what I would remember in the course of this. And then when I come back to it, maybe a day later or 2 days later, I would find, oh, maybe it's just a 3 now, which means that you're halfway better in the process of restoring the qi flow in your body. The second point that we're going to deal with is a point called stomach 36. Spleen 6. And spleen 6 is called San Yin Jiao. It means 3 yin crossing. It means that the 3 meridians that come up the inside of your leg, the liver, the kidney, and the spleen, all cross at the same point. So it's very, very commonly used in Chinese medicine because you can touch 3 meridians with 1 point. And it's found very similar to the way that stomach 36 is found. We take the top part of the ankle, what's called the medial malleolus, and we take our 4 fingers again, with our little finger resting against the top of the ankle bone, and we go up 4 fingers, similar to the way we came down 4 fingers on this side. And then we come about the width of a thumb into the fleshy part of the muscle there. And we massage that, and we see if there's any tenderness there. And this is a point that's used for all reproductive systems. It's used for menstrual problems. It's used for clearing all kinds of problems in the abdomen. And it improves your absorption of your food in your body. We say in Chinese medicine that the spleen takes the top 1% of your food, the creme de la creme of your food, and it cooks it. And it steams that energy up to your lungs, and then your lungs distribute that throughout your body. And if your spleen is functioning well, your digestion is going to be functioning well. And the things that injure the spleen in Chinese medicine are sugar, particularly refined sugar, and cold drinks. So in our society in the West, we're basically destroying our spleen day in and day out. Or if you have a teenager who's having a big gulp drink full of 10 teaspoons of sugar and full of ice, he's going to start to damage his spleen. And then if he adds in like a greasy hamburger or something like that, the ice is going to slow down the fats in the hamburger, and all of a sudden you're going to have a digestive nightmare. And if you do this day in and day out and day in and day out, your digestion gets weakened. And it's one of the reasons why it's better to have any kind of dessert or sugar maybe half an hour at least after you've had your meal, so that your body can absorb the maximum nutrition from your food. So there's a divine design. Dr. Stone, Randolph Stone, who founded polarity therapy or rediscovered polarity therapy, said God geometrizes. He says there's a divine plan in how this works. So the yin meridians, which are the most important, come up the inside of your leg. So they're most protected if you're going to have a hit from the outside. So the liver and the kidney and the spleen, which cross at spleen 6, are protected on the inside. The yang meridians, in turn, go down, and they're not as important an organ as the heart and the kidney and the spleen. So if you receive a blow from the outside, you're less likely to damage your internal organs. And the same goes for the arm. Your most important meridians are on the inside of the arm, and your yang meridians are on the outside. I would caution people also that as we explore these points, that they're not to be used by pregnant women without consulting your acupuncturist. It's just a caution. Some of the points are forbidden for pregnant women, and even for acupressure, we caution not to use them unless you have a full consultation of your acupuncturist. And it's just a way of protecting yourself. The first point that we're going to talk about is a point called stomach 36. Now, in Chinese, each point has a name. In American system, in the Western system, every point has a number. So if it's called stomach 36, it means that it's the 36th point of access on the channel where you can work on as acupressure, or you can put a needle into. And the Chinese have poetic names for them, ways that were used in poetry, ways that were used to memorize where the points are. What's amazing about the acupuncture system is that it's 2,000 years old. So when they talk about stomach 36, they've had 2,000 years of experience of working with this point. If you were to study the Chinese information on this, there would be a whole book written just about one point, and it would tell you vast successes that have been had using stomach 36. Now, part of the idea is that we are learning simple ways to locate these points. Stomach 36 in Chinese is called 3-mile point, Zhu San Li. And it means that if you needle this point, you can walk 3 more miles, or 3 more li, which is the Chinese measurement. And it's used to strengthen your legs. It's used in sports. It's used to strengthen the entire body. And it has magical effects on the digestive system. So if you've got too much of something, it'll lower it, or if you've got too little of something, it'll raise it up, like hydrochloric acid or something like that. And it also increases the peristalsis along the colon. So how it moves through the small intestine, how it moves through the large intestine is improved. It improves your absorption, and again, it improves your strength. I was with my teacher on the 1983 Tour de France with a great bicyclist named Jonathan Boyer, or Jacques Boyer, and we were his personal acupuncturists on the Tour de France, and he did well in that race, and later on he went on to win the race across America, which was from where you race from Los Angeles to New York, literally non-stop, making up your own route as you go. There were no rules except that you had to stay on the route. You could go as long as you want, you could stop as long as you want, and he won the race, and one of the reasons that he won the race was due to stomach 36. So one of the ways that we locate this is there's going to be two natural indentations inside of the knee here. We call it the cow's nose. And we're going to deal with the outer indentation here. And the way we locate it is we use 4 of our own fingers down from that particular point, that indentation. And you're going to feel a bone called the tibia here, and we're going to go the width of 1 thumb out. And that's where stomach 36 is going to be located. Now, if you're working on somebody else, you measure the size of their 4 fingers, not yours. So if somebody has smaller fingers, you measure their size, or if they have very large hands, you use their size. And then you put your hand like this, right over the indentation of this, which would be stomach 35, and you go down to the bottom of it, and you go 1 thumb width out, and you're into stomach 36. Okay, so it's very, very simple. 4 fingers down, and 1 finger width out. And you're going to be in a fleshy part there, and we're going to massage that point. As we learn these points, sometimes we call them acupuncture points because they're punctured by a needle, and sometimes they're referred to as acupressure points, where you can actually find the point and you can massage it yourself. The key thing that we're looking for is if there's any pain, if there's any discomfort at these points. And some of the ones that we're going to deal with later might surprise you how sore they are. So if you find a point that's sore, the idea is that we want to go down into the point, and we want to go down in a spiral way, down to where we feel any kind of soreness, or we feel where the finger naturally ends. And then we stimulate it for 30 seconds or so in a spiral way, and then we release it and give the blocked energy somewhere to go. So it's a very, very simple process. It's not aggressive, and it tends to produce profound results. So everybody clear about where it's located? So Zhusan Li, 3 Mile Point, and it's used for all digestion. It's used for, it helps with the reproductive system. It helps and open up energy to your head and your face, and it has benefits that just keep on going and going and going. It's also called an earth element point, and in Chinese medicine the earth element is considered to be the most important of the 5 elements because it has to do with food and it has to do with nourishment in your body. So if you put good food into your body and you have good digestion, all of the cells of your body are going to be fed by this particular process.